Good afternoon, everybody. How are you all doing? It's it's not that cold here today. In my house at least. It's cold outside. It was snowing again earlier. Didn't stay. And it's not. I don't have anything against snow, but and I also know that winter doesn't start until right before Christmas. Christmas. But yeah, for me, after Christmas, I'm done. Like spring can come, I'm done. Um, and yeah, pale skin, red hair. Yeah, you think I'd be better at the winter, but yeah, a lack of sunshine doesn't really work for me. But I only have 3.5 weeks of this weather left. That I'm moving to a place much more tropical than this. So let's see. Like I don't know, maybe when summer hits there. I'll burn so badly that I don't know how fast. I need to get my ass back to the Netherlands or someplace cooler, maybe Scotland. Okay, so what I want to talk about this month basically is self-care, and which is fun for me as well, because self-care isn't really my thing. I know it should be my thing. I talk about it a lot. I don't walk the talk necessarily. But yeah, this is definitely an area for me where I'm still learning and still tripping a lot, plenty obstacles for me. Um, Especially for me, it's connected to when I think of when I see something, when somebody asks me something like, "Do you want to do this with me?" or "How about this project?" and I like the idea. Um, the idea gets me going. I don't want to say no. And I've reached a point where even if I do feel like, yeah, this project is definitely me, I have to say no. And that is a turning point in my career, so to say, that I now have the opportunity to say no, which is great. But it was fun when I could stay, like at the beginning, I could just say no to the things that I didn't want to do anyway. Well, before, you accept every job that you can get. When you just start out with your own business, you just do whatever it is you need to do. And at this point, I'm like, does this mean I have to say no to the projects that I would do if I have the time? Yes, that is basically the period, the phase of my life where that is happening. So self-care for me isn't particularly going great at the moment. I'm sleeping okay, but I work pretty much every day, including the weekends. So I'm curious how this month will influence me myself, and hopefully it will help me walk my talk a little better. Okay, so self-care, and if you hear noise around me, my cat is in some kind of mood and everything needs to fall to the floor or needs to be disturbed in any way. So if you hear anything, she's having a lot of fun, and I tried to get rid of her, but she just I don't have a door in my office, um, which is gonna sound really counterproductive to some of the advice I'll be giving soon. But yeah, she might bother us. So if you hear that, that's just her. Okay, so self care. For me, one of the first things that I wanted to share today is that for me, it starts with being clear on what you need. And not just from yourself, but also from others. And I know that might sound a little contradictory, because you think with self care, that is about you and yourself, and it's somehow all on you. And it mostly is, honestly, it mostly is. You are responsible 100% for getting what you want. That is all on you. But that said, you do not live in some isolated cabin in the woods. I mean, if only, right? So the quality of your self-care does depend on the people around you as well. And you don't get to choose all of those. Although you do, and I'll get back to that in a second, you do get to choose what kind of boundaries you set around these people. So self-care also depends on their willingness to take you and your writing seriously, as much as it depends on your willingness to be clear about what you need from whom, and to stay clear from those who cannot give you what you need in your writing practice. So for writers, I would say, because of course self-care is a big thing right now. So if we think specifically about writers, I would say that for writers, self-care is a lot about making sure that we get the peace and quiet we need to write. And that is why I was talking about the lack of a door. Like, usually we say we just need a door between us and our writing, just to lock the world out for a second so we can write. I don't have that luxury at the moment. I will soon though. But yeah, so that's funny for me. It's just like, oh, I don't even have a door, and that is always what I'm preaching to other people about. Speaking about walking the talk, right? Okay, so this making sure that we get the peace and quiet that we need to write. Of course, this is about boundaries. It's about making clear to the people around us that they cannot expect us to always answer the phone immediately, or to always just text them back immediately. It also means that if you do have a door and you have it closed, that it's about making clear to your roommates, your partners, your children, that if the door is closed, it doesn't mean that you don't love them as much as you do. It just means that you need that time. You need that border between yourself and them to be able to pursue that what feeds your soul. So, another example. It's also about making clear to the people who love to rely on you more than you should, and I'm sure you can think of someone, that you writing from home doesn't mean you're home all the time, that you're always ready to do whatever they ask of you because you're home, right? No, it's writing time, and that needs to come with particular boundaries. So as such, for me, self-care is about being supported in our creative endeavors, both by ourselves and by those around us. Of course, like, we need to believe in our own selves. We need to allow ourselves to set those boundaries and to do what's right for our own writing practice. But, and this feeds back to what I just said, it's as much about surrounding ourselves with those people who support us like we do or should support ourselves. So what does that look like? I mean, this could, what does support from others look like? I mean, this could be someone you trust reading your work and providing feedback so you can improve your craft. But it could also look more like financial support, for example, in the shape of a partner who's giving you the space to dial down a bit on your day job so you can pursue your dreams. Could be anything. So there is definitely, like, although self-care is your own responsibility, it's your responsibility to get what you need. It's also your responsibility to be clear to others how they can help you. It's not just about how you can help yourself. It's also about how the people around you can help you as well, in as far as they want to, of course. Like, it's still a free world. Do the most, like, mostly. So, and here comes the tricky part, for me at least, and I think it's a tricky part for a lot of people, and there's been a lot more focus on this in the recent years. While it's one thing to say, and to be clear on what we don't need. And to be honest, I don't even think we get to the bottom of that, even, like, if at all. Like, do you really know what you don't need from someone? Do you? I'm sure that I do to a certain extent, but not like, it's not about everything and every aspect of my life. But it is often more easy for us to say, yeah, but I don't want you to do this, and I don't want you to do this, and I don't need this, and I don't need this, and I don't need that. No, that is annoying. It's a completely different thing to be clear on what we do want and need. So to say, okay, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what I need from you. This is how you could help me. It's much more common, I would say, to say, this is not helping. This is not how you're helping me. This is not useful to me. Okay, what is useful? Can you sit with that for a while and think of, okay, how could the other help you? How could you help yourself? But also, how could the other help yourself? So I know none of you asked for an assignment, but I have one anyway, just in case you want to go at that. For this week, as a start to our self-care month, try to be as crystal clear about what you want and need within reason, obviously. I was going to say goes without saying, but I do, like, reflect on that. Is it honest and realistic and reasonable what you're asking of the people around you, and also of yourself, by the way, of both. So this week, let's go again because I completely lost my thread. Okay, this week, try to be as crystal clear about what you want and need within reason from yourself, and also the people closest connected to your writing practice. So the people who influence your writing practice the most. So people that you know who keep you from writing, or who you let yourself, who you allow, who you allow in your space when you should actually be writing. And here's the tricky part. I don't want you to use any negatives. So if you come up with something like, okay, I don't want my kids to bang on the door every 5 minutes when I'm trying to write, or I don't want my sister to keep texting and calling me during my writing time. What you write down is, what I need is so and so many minutes of hours of undisturbed writing time. So you don't go with the negatives, you go with what you do need, what you do want. How would you like things to be? So when you're done with your list, then think about, and this is the fun part. Think of how to best communicate this to the people involved. How could you tell your partner, your siblings, your roommates, your kids, how could you communicate what you need from them? And of course, this also goes for you. Like, how could you communicate to yourself? Because you could keep going, oh, I don't want to, let me think of an example about self-talk. I don't want to wait until the end of the day before I write. I don't want to prioritize other people's priorities before my own. That becomes, I write first thing in the morning because it is important, for example. So that is something, it becomes something positive that you could listen to. And the other thing could be like the one about the priorities. And I think for a lot of us, we have issues with prioritizing our own work, because it means we have to take ourselves seriously as writers. And I think that's a very big step for a lot of people. So it becomes, oh, I know I have 2 cats running around. That's perfect. I hope you don't hear that. So that becomes, I prioritize my own writing before others' needs. Before the needs of others. That is how you turn the negatives into positives. So like I said, when you're done with your list, think of how to best communicate this to the people involved. And again, don't use any negatives there. Don't tell them what you don't want from them, but try to tell them what you do want or need from them, and see how they respond. See if they're willing to give you that. And also see if you are willing and able to give the things you need from yourselves to yourself. Okay. As I said, no one asked for an assignment, but if you do this, if you do sit with this, feel free to get back to me and let me know what you came up with. Okay. See you all next week.